In a quiet tradition-bound village where time seems frozen in the cracked walls of old houses and the smoke curling from clay ovens, lived an aging father named Hakeem, a man burdened by love and a promise that weighed heavier with each passing day. Years ago, at his beloved wife's deathbed, he had clasped her frail hand as she whispered her dying wish that their only son, Raheel, would one day find a kind, loving partner to share his life and carry their family's legacy forward. Since then, Hakeem had done everything a father could, arranging meetings, speaking with respected families, hoping to see his son's eyes light up at the idea of companionship. But every attempt was crushed by Raheel's deep distrust of love. His heart scarred by a betrayal he never spoke of, leaving him convinced that marriage was nothing but a trap, a prison disguised as happiness. One rainy night, as thunder shook the fragile window panes, Hakeem sat alone by the dim glow of his fireplace, his trembling hands tracing the faded faces in his family photo album, consumed by fear that he would leave this world without fulfilling his vow to his late wife. When Raheel returned home that night, soaked and angry, he lashed out at his father's insistence, shouting that love was a lie and marriage a cruel joke. The clash of their voices filled the dark house, each word cutting deeper than the last, until Raheel slammed his door, leaving Hakeem heartbroken and desperate. The next morning, at the village's bustling tea shop where elders gathered to trade stories and worries, Hakeem confided in his oldest friend, Bashir, who, after listening quietly, offered a daring, unconventional solution. If Hakeem wanted to find a girl whose kindness was true, he should see the world not as a respected elder, but as someone powerless, a beggar, for only then would he witness hearts unclouded by greed or social standing. Though hesitant at first, the idea took root in Hakeem's mind like a spark in dry grass, and within days, he exchanged his dignified clothes for tattered rags, smearing dust on his face until he became unrecognizable. Thus began Hakeem's grueling journey, shuffling through busy markets where shoppers recoiled, temples where he was shooed away, and homes where even his timid knock was met with slamming doors or mocking laughter. His heart grew heavier with every cruel encounter, every fake smile masking disgust. He saw girls who offered him stale bread but giggled behind his back, women who performed charity only when others watched, and families who scolded their daughters for even glancing at a beggar. Nights found him sleeping beneath cold stars, aching with hunger and loneliness, each day a test of his resolve. Just as despair threatened to consume him, he stumbled into a distant village he had never visited, where exhaustion finally overcame him and he collapsed on a dusty path. There, a soft voice and gentle hands lifted him. Meher, a humble girl whose own life was marked by hardship, who took him into her modest home despite scornful gossip from neighbors who called her foolish and shameless. Over the next days, Meher nursed Hakeem's wounds, fed him warm food, and prayed quietly by his bedside, never asking his name or expecting thanks, moved only by pure compassion. Determined to test the depths of her heart, Hakeem told Meher pitiful stories of a life abandoned and dreams lost, watching as tears filled her eyes and kindness shone unwavering in her actions. Meanwhile, news of Hakeem's disappearance spread back home. Bashir, fearing the worst, told Raheel everything, and the son, torn between anger and worrying, set out to find his father. When Raheel finally arrived in the village and saw his father living as a beggar in Meher's small house, rage and confusion boiled over. He confronted Hakeem bitterly, demanding to know why he had humiliated himself, but as he watched Meher's gentle care and heard villagers' stories of her selfless deeds, Raheel's defenses began to crack. In Meher's unassuming kindness, he glimpsed the love he had sworn didn't exist, the warmth he had secretly longed for. Yet before Raheel could confess his feelings, Hakeem's health deteriorated rapidly, years of strain and recent suffering catching up all at once. In a tearful hospital room filled with the beeping of machines and the smell of antiseptic, Hakeem pleaded for his son's promise to marry Meher. His final breath spent seeing his family's future secure as Raheel's eyes wet with grief and newfound love took Meher's hand and vowed to cherish her. Their simple wedding, witnessed by hospital staff and Bashir, was marked by quiet joy and aching sadness. Months later, Raheel and Meher honored Hakeem's legacy by founding a charitable organization in his name, building shelters for beggars, feeding the hungry, and spreading kindness in forgotten corners of the world, proving that a father's love and sacrifice could spark a flame of compassion bright enough to light countless lives for generations to come.